Hello, I am Florian Wu, also Coach Dr. Wu. This is a question and answer session. Question number 1, how do I provide direct feedback to a coaching client? Number 1, I always engage in active, attentive listening. And I like to ask permission and feedback before I propose a new direction, suggestion, or instructions to make sure it aligns with what the client is experiencing. Number 2, give an example of when I had to shift my priorities to support a coaching client. I always have a general overview of how to get to the destination. The path, however, is the fun part. So every session, my ear, my heart, my soul, my mind is actually attuned for any downloads of intuition of my higher power. And that is just so amazing because I see such amazing transformations. It's like, oh, I didn't plan that. Oh, wow, that is such confirmation that I am exactly doing what I have been created to do and called to do. So that's the fun part. That's the adventure of coaching. Now, give an example of when it didn't go well. Well, I'll give you one. This was actually one of my earlier beta clients. And she was actually having the coaching session at her job. So she was already on very much hyper-vigilant, high alert already. And as we were going, I saw that she was going into that anxious state. So I decided to start talking about the nervous system and trying to explain anxiousness because she was a physician. So I kind of went intellectual. However, in hindsight, what I should have done was I needed to actually calm down her amygdala brain. So I shared some breathing techniques, but I really should have concentrated on that alone. In other words, I needed to stabilize her nervous system so that she would actually quiet down the survival amygdala brain and then go into her prefrontal cognitive brain. So what came out of that was interesting because she had enough self-awareness and boundaries to email me and tell me that she did feel triggered and that she at this point wants to restart her anxiety medications with her psychiatrist and counselor at that point. So that was a really good learning experience for me. Also, it taught me that sometimes it's just not a fit. Sometimes your skills may not fit the other person's needs for the relaxation mode, right? You have to definitely be able to go into that relaxed state to do this coaching and to learn. And I'll give you a good example of actually when I had to pivot and it went really well. And that's usually what happens. That's the majority of the case. In one particular session, it was a client that was feeling stuck in her self-expression in the throat area. So I've been working on that. And so my plan was to help with the expression and also maybe touch a little bit on boundaries, saying no and yes. However, what happened was, she's a very private person, but what happened was just amazing. She actually felt safe enough with me that what came up was actually grief over a recent death of a beloved sibling. And it was a few years, yet she had not really shared any of these emotions, either to herself or to another human being. So it was amazing. I just followed the Holy Spirit and we went through the whole grieving process, all just a taste of all the waves so she could understand, the bargaining, the anger, the sadness, the shock, the denial, the wanting to go forward and yet acceptance and then going back and forth and just explaining to her the trajectory of the journey of grief. So that was just such a blessing. It was so amazing. And she was so grateful. I could see the relief and the reconnection of her heart that she was finally able to start her grieving journey and express her deep emotions and loss. So that was really cool. Number 3, how do I balance my own personal well-being and the demands of work and just regular life stresses? Well, this is really interesting because my specialty is to transform, to help people transform from burnout, anxiety, and overwhelm into being on fire again with skills to go back into the zone of peace and to feel empowered again. So that's kind of my specialty. And as you know, we coaches, we can only take other people as far as we have evolved. And as I evolve myself, my coaching value and services and skill and mastery just keeps evolving and growing. So as I grow more myself, I have more to give. It really is true. Our greatest challenges really do become our superpowers. I really do live and breathe that. So so I am actively always doing self-compassion, self-curiosity, self-love, self-acceptance. And I live and breathe that. And that's what I coach my clients with. You are blessed. Shalom, peace. That means wholeness in mind, body, and spirit. Shalom, peace, everyone. CoachDrWu.com. You are blessed. Shalom, peace, everyone.